Okay, so let's talk about how to take aligned action. Now, for me personally, when I'm working with a client or when I'm working with myself, when I'm talking about aligned action, I'm talking about your defined centers, specifically your channels. Why? Because your channels are where energy is being moved. It's where the energy is being transmuted, it's being transformed, it's going from one place to another, right? So there was a question about if I have, two projected channels and one manifested channel and one generated channel, where should I put my focus, right? So we're going to go over that in this video. I'm going to talk about the 4 different channel types, and I'm going to talk to you personally about how I think you should use each one. If you are new here, hello, my name is Ebony. I am a human design reader, expert, and coach. So there are 4 different types of channels in human design. There are projected channels, manifested channels, generated channels, and reflected channels. What does all this mean? So the type, how you determine whether a channel is, projected or manifested or generated or whatever, is what type do you become if that channel is the only channel defined in your chart. Okay, so for example, the 4816 channel connects the spleen to the throat center. So if you only have that one channel, then you would be a splenic projector because it connects the spleen to the throat, which would make you a splenic projector. So it is a projected channel. By comparison, if you have the 2145 channel, which connects the ego center or the heart center to the throat, then you would be a manifester because you have a motor center directly connected to your throat, which would make you a ego manifester, which means that is a manifested channel. So, knowing that there are all these different channels in the chart, what does this mean and how does it affect you, right? Depending on what kind of channel it is, that determines how you want to use it. So for projected channels, just like projectors, the type in general, they have to be invited, right? Same is true for projected channels. Projected channels, the wisdom of that channel needs to be invited. Or, same thing with projectors. It's not going to resonate with the person that you're sharing it with. So, getting to the actual topic of the video. For projected channels, which most of the channels in the human design chart are projected. I want to say it's 32 channels. At least 18, I think, are projected. Because we have 9 generated channels. We have 3 manifested channels. 12, 20 projected channels. Math is not my forte, clearly. So most of the channels in the human design body graph are projected, which means most of the channels in the human design body graph, that wisdom needs to be invited. Okay? So, what was the point that I was trying to make? Oh, how do we use them, right? Okay, so with projected channels, what you want to do is showcase. Now, I say this all the time. In any projector video that I have made, projectors need to showcase their wisdom in a very public way. That podcast, YouTube, social media, some public way that you are telling the world, hey, this is what I'm good at. You should invite me to help you with your problem because look at how good I am at what I do. This is my 4816 channel at work. 4816 channel is a channel of immense talent. It's mastering things, doing them over and over and over again, and then talking about it. Hello, my whole channel, Human Design. This is me showcasing the wisdom of my 4816 channel in a public way. And then you all invite me to give you my guidance, whether that's through commenting on my videos, whether that's through a reading, whether you join one of my programs. That is you inviting me to guide you. Yeah? That's what I tell projectors to do, and that's also what I'm telling you to do right now with your projected channels. If you have projected channels, most of us do, even if you're not a projector, you want to be showcasing the wisdom of those channels in a public way. right? I don't care if you stand on the street corner screaming things out from a bullhorn. The thing is, you have to get that wisdom out there so people can invite you to help them with whatever it is that you're doing. If they don't know that that's your thing, they can't invite you to do shit. Right? Right. So with projected channels, showcase. Some way, somehow, you want to showcase the knowledge of your projected channels. That's what you want to focus on with them. Yep. So, generated channels. The generated channels are the channels that connect to the sacral center, right? So technically, there's 8 generated channels and plus 1 manifested generated. That's weird. There's one channel that is the manifesting generator channel, and that is the 3420. So that's technically a manifesting generated channel, but you know, we all generators up in here, right? So for generated channels, you want to use these to respond. Okay, so the 3420 channel. The 3420 channel is the channel of oh God, what's the name of that channel? Shoot, I don't remember the name. But with this channel, you're acting in the moment. You're responding to something that you love in the moment right now. It's like, I want to go do that thing. I want to go do it right now. This is the action that I'm taking this is the action I'm taking right now. The 3420 channel is about action. It's a lot about being busy and kind of losing that sense of self-awareness. It's a very unaware channel. Yeah, which is why people who have the 3420 channel, they're like, oh, I feel so busy, like I have so much to do. Yes, because the 3420 channel, it wants to be busy. It wants to be doing things all the time. And it doesn't want you to necessarily be aware of that fact, right? So the 3420 channel, it responds with action. It's like, ooh, I like that, let's go do it. Yeah, with the Gay 5, right, 515 channel, it's more about having rhythms and routines that connect you to your sense of self. So this is like, that's gonna make me feel more like me, I'm gonna go do that. This is a ritual that really inspires me, I'm gonna go do that, right? Generated channels need something to respond to. So you don't want to force your generated channels to do something that they're just not designed to do. Generated channels want to respond to something, right? Which is why you have to be very aware of what's going on in your environment in the present moment if you want to hear the wisdom of these channels, yeah? Next we have manifested channels. Manifested channels are informing. This is where you're telling people about things, right? So depending on, you know, what channel, which manifested channel that you have, that's going to determine how you inform people, right? So it can either be connected to the ego center, in which case you're telling people about the things that you desire, things that you want, things in the material world, or if it's connected to the solar plexus, then you're telling people about your feelings. You're expressing your feelings in a way that's going to get people to take action. So those are the 3 manifested channels. So with manifested channels, you want to focus on informing. You don't have to wait for the invitation with the manifested channel. You really kind of have free reign to express yourself in the present moment. That's what manifestors do, right? So manifested channels are fairly straightforward, but it's about figuring out, what am I meant to be expressing? How, in what way am I meant to be informing other people based on the channels that I have, based on this, you know, manifest channel, right? The 4th type of channel is reflected. Reflected channels, we all have them. A reflected channel is a channel where you are completely undefined, which means we all have them because no one has every single channel defined. It's just not possible. Yep. So in your reflected channels, this is where you're meant to learn. This is where you're meant to reflect. This is where you're meant to surrender. This is where you are taking on the energy of other people. You're feeling the highs and lows of that energy, right? This is where you get to reflect back to people what they're doing well and what they maybe need to work on. So we're doing this all of the time because whenever you're around someone, they're bound to have a channel that you do not have. So we are constantly taking in information, we're constantly learning, and we're constantly reflecting back to other people what they are and are not doing very well. So, reflector channels, you don't necessarily have to worry about as much because this is a very natural process. It's going to happen on its own. What you want to be wary of is if you're in a not self theme, which comes more from undefined center. So, reflector channels are good to know about, but they're not something that you have to constantly be aware of, right? I would focus on your defined channels before your reflector channels, right? So, just to recap, projector channels, showcase it. Whatever the wisdom of that channel is, whatever that channel is doing, showcase it, yeah? Generator channels, give them something to respond to. Pay close attention to what's happening around you, what's happening in your physical world, and use your generator channels to respond to it. Yeah? Manifestor channels, inform. That center, that motor center is connected to your throat for a reason. You are meant to speak. You are meant to express those feelings, those desires to the people around you. Use it. Okay? Great. I will link my Gates playlist in case you have not seen it, and I will see you in the next video.